In this video, I would like to explain acrylic painting for beginners, getting started in 10 easy steps. Here I explain things I wish I knew as a beginner in acrylic painting. When you start with a new medium, you have a lot of questions. In this video, I try to answer the main questions that someone starting painting with acrylics might have. The first question comes in mind: what kind of acrylic paint should I buy? Acrylic comes in different size containers, different thickness, and of course different brands. The good news is that they are all mixable. You can find student quality and artistic quality acrylic paints. The latter is more expensive and gives a higher performance in terms of color and final results. Get the best paint that you can afford. I advise buying paint of well-known brands such as Golden, Liquitex or Pebeo. I especially like using heavy body acrylics for their butter consistency, which is somehow similar to oil paints. Each brand develops slightly different hues, so you can buy the colors you like or need from different makers. What paint colors do I need? To get started, you don't need to buy a lot of colors. With little practice, you can mix any color you need, starting from a few selected colors. To save some money, you can opt to purchase an acrylic paint set of the basic colors that usually contains cadmium yellow, naphthol crimson, phthalo green, ultramarine blue, and titanium white. With some trial and error, you can learn how to mix all the colors you need from such a small palette. Which brushes do I need? Paint brushes comes in many types and sizes. They can be very cheap or quite expensive. Synthetic brushes, usually cheaper than natural one, are greater for acrylics. The best size and shapes are going to depend on your painting style. However, you can start with 3 or 4 sizes of filbert brush, flat brushes, or round brush, or point brush, which can be used to obtain different kinds of brush strokes. On what can I paint? With acrylics, you can paint on a vast array of supports as long as the paint sticks after dry. Test if you are not sure. The typical painting surfaces are stretched to canvas board, wood panels, and paper, but the possibilities don't stop there. I have seen people paint with acrylics on stones, vinyl tiles, walls, furniture, fabrics, and more. Where should I mix the colors? You will need a palette on which you mix your paint. This can be made of wood, plastic, or paper. Non-porous surfaces are highly preferable. Disposable paper plates are also a good solution for easy cleanup. Since acrylic paint dries quickly, only squeeze out small amount at a time. Keep the paint moist, spraying water on it with a spray bottle. Do I need to prop my canvas up? You should paint with a support facing you, pretty much perpendicular to your line of sight, not horizontal. This helps with perspective and proportions while also reducing spills and dust deposit. Tabletop easels are a great option and they are very affordable. If you like to stand up, you may opt for a standing easel. Do I need water to paint with acrylics? Yes, acrylic paint is water-based and it's important to have plenty of water handy at all the times. Use the water to rinse the brushes and to thin the paint. A small amount of water also keeps paint from drying too fast. Change the water often to have two containers, a clean one for diluting paint and another one for rinsing the brushes. How do I take care of my brushes? Don't let acrylic paints dry on brushes. Rinse them well in between colors and blot excess water on a paper towel or on an old rag. Keep paper towels handy to remove mistakes on the canvas while they are still wet. Do I need to buy acrylic mediums? To improve the paint performance, different kinds of acrylic mediums are available. I suggest you to start getting familiar with acrylic paint before you buy any mediums because it depends on what you feel you would like to improve. Here is what some mediums are for: increasing the drying time, making the paint glossy, making the paint thick, improving the flow, modifying the density of the paint, and adding texture. You can improve the flow by simply adding water to the paint, but this reduces a little bit of the color intensity. How should I dress for painting with acrylics? Wear a comfortable dress that you are not afraid of staining, otherwise protect more precious ones with apron. Acrylic paint is pretty hard to wash off.